I know. I've been gone for a really long time. It's been a while since I've done a podcast episode. But the truth of the matter is, things got really, really crazy, and I had to make a really, really hard choice. But now that everything is settling down, I want to be able to sit down and talk with you about some of the things that's been happening behind the scenes. So for this episode, it's just going to be us. Just a cool, calm, casual conversation, no pressure, no heavy structure, just where I've been, what's been going on, and where we're headed to next. So if you're interested, go ahead and stick around. Go ahead, grab your coffee, tea, all the things. Let's sit down and have a chat. Well, hello there. Welcome to School After Hours podcast, where we talk about all things related to out of school time programming and education. I am your host, Jay Lee. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are returning to the podcast, welcome. It's good to see you. Happy fingers. Yay. Anywho, welcome. It's good to see you all, new and returning. So where should I start? Well, let's start with the big thing first. So, the big news is I started my own podcasting program. I know, right? Round of applause, round of applause. Thank you so much. For those of you that have been following me for a really long time, and even those that have known me before I got into podcasting, you know that I've been wanting to have my own after school program of some sort for quite a while. And since I've been developing my skills in podcasting, I thought it would be a great time to build a program around that new skill set that I learned during the pandemic, if you know the story. So this was my first year as a program provider. And I mean, not casually into after school time programming. I mean, I was in it. Like we doing curriculums, we doing youth worksheets to make sure that the skills match what I'm trying to teach them. We're doing production, they're doing recording, the whole thing, all the things, right? And the kids that I've worked with have at least published one complete episode of their work, which I'm super, super excited about. And they did so good. So I'll gush over them later. So, in stepping into this new role of program provider, it was a lot of unknowns that I did not even begin to consider or even think about. As a program manager, you have an idea because you're used to dealing with teams, putting the things together, and thankfully having that skill set of prepping for what I want programs to look like has definitely helped me in this role as a program provider. But when I tell you it's different on this other side of the fence, it's real different on this other side of the fence. Let me tell you, hunty. There is just a number of things that I wouldn't think to consider as a program provider. And one of those things is when you are at that place of expansion, some of the things you have to consider as far as hiring, who you want to hire, how to hire, all those things, materials, knowing how much you're going to need as you're developing the program, because what you started off with in the first portion of your program may not be the same things that you need at the end. So, learning that portion of it. Also, from a program perspective, knowing what questions to ask when you are partnering with the school that has a program manager, things to keep in mind that you want to be a part of, that you may want to start advocating for, all of those things. But I am thankful for the experience that it has given me. And it's one of those things, once you know, then you know, right? Can't anyone take that from you? But knowing all the things that I have been able to learn within this first year, going back to the table for the next year, cross my fingers. Hopefully everything goes well and they invite me back. I will definitely apply for next year. So it has been a very enriching experience, and I am thankful for it. As you know, with wonderful opportunities comes highs and lows with the experience. So I'm going to take a minute to get into some of those with you now. So let's go ahead and start with the highs. Being able to create this program has opened up so many doors for me and opportunities, not just from a business standpoint, but also from a creative standpoint as far as connecting with other program providers, right? And seeing how they run their program, but also how they advertise their programs through social media, community work, all of those things. So I'm thankful for the people that I've been able to work with during this process and also hearing the stories from each individual. That's the part that really hits home for me because that's where a good portion of the lessons are learned, right? There is no class on being a program provider and maintaining it from a business standpoint. You know what I mean? So being able to connect with other program providers and youth program managers and hearing their stories, their interests, how they got started, how they have been able to maintain and scale their programs and the impact that they're having because of it, not just on the youth, but also their partners and the community that they're served. So those are the heartwarming things to me, and it pulls my heartstrings because in my mind, I'm like, okay, if one person can do it, why can't I do it? So it gives me that additional fuel to let me know that A, I can do it because it's already been done, and B, to keep my eyes on the prize and keep on going because you never know who needs to tell that story or have that experience based on the programming that you are providing. Another plus from this experience is just seeing it all come to life. Like the amount of energy that you put into something like this from a prep standpoint to an execution standpoint, it is massive, and on top of juggling everything else. So seeing it all come together, the lessons, the kids, giving them the skill sets and having them challenge themselves to push the story or push the narrative that's important to them and see them have a certain level of confidence and be able to present that on screen is a reminder of why for me, this is important to give them that agency, to give them that voice, to give them that sense of urgency of, you know what, this is possible, this can happen. There is work to be done in this space that needs my voice. So those were some of the highs for me. Now, with the highs also comes the lows. So like I said, the amount of work that goes into something like this is massive. And I'm thankful for the second part of the year that I was able to get help to delegate some of the tasks that I was doing individually. So the amount of work that it takes, it can be draining at times. And that's where I came to the hard choice of having to decide whether to keep on just pushing out podcast episodes or just take time to regroup and gather myself to create a solid foundation enough for the program where it could start to build and be scalable. So that's the reason why you haven't seen me in a while. I took a little break to push forward this podcasting program. And I believe that it is doing well and is on its way to becoming a great thing. That was one of the hard decisions because I've missed podcasting, getting guests and talking about all the things that's happening in after school time programming, strategy, all those things, especially the stuff that's going on now, which we will talk about in future episodes. But yeah, with the cuts that's taking place in after school programming and in education, it comes a different conversation that needs to be had. It's what is relevant, what is important, what does sustainability look like for us moving forward as not just educators in this space, but community members that pour so much into our youth and in our communities. So those are the conversations that I want to begin to pick up and have with other individuals and people in powerful positions that could speak to how we can sustain and what steps we need to take to move forward and keep our field together, but also strong. So I look forward to airing those episodes with you all soon. So those were my highs and my lows and why I haven't been around, but it's been for a good cause. And now that I'm getting back on track with recording, it leads me to my next thing. Recently, I did a workshop called Planning with Purpose, where youth program managers came together virtually to roadmap their program logistics for their summer programs. After the workshop was over, I said to myself, why not do something like this, but as a program debrief for the end of the school year? And I could host it on a podcast so more people have access to it. So next week, we're going to start the Impact Report series, where we're going to focus on wrapping up the end of the year strong. This is for my program managers, educators, youth development workers, program providers, anyone who's trying to close out programming for the year and do it successfully and intentionally instead of just scrambling at the last minute to get across the finish line. So as we go through this series, we're going to be doing reflections, giving you tips on how you can review your systems, some big lessons learned, and how to set yourself up so you're not starting from scratch next year. With that being said, make sure that you subscribe to our newsletter so you can get the workbook that goes along with this series, and follow us on all social media platforms and podcasting platforms so you do not miss a beat. Well, everyone, that brings us to the end of our show. If you liked what you heard and you enjoyed our conversation, make sure that you're following us on YouTube, but also hit that like button so we know what you are enjoying. You can also find us on other podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts if you want to listen to our audio version as well. To get more behind the scenes stuff, make sure that you're following us on our social media accounts, Instagram and Facebook at School After Hours. Well, that's all I have for today. In the words of Mr. Arthur Ashe, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. Until next time, y'all. Bye-bye.